All right, Rachel, let's see if you got the broadcast started on your side. We are live.
Is it on the Hangouts?
Yep, it's on Hangouts.
Okay. All right. I see both screens.
All right,
now.
perfect. All right, so mute your computer or mute one of them. I would tell you preferred mute your iPad. Okay.
How about that?
Perfect.
I don't know if it's because I need to have the microphone on to be able to talk with this.
I can hear you on both, regardless. Don't mute your microphone. All you're going to do is turn the volume all the way down, so that volume is muted on one of them. All right.
Can you hear me on both?
Now I can't hear you on either.
Oh. Huh.
All right, wait. Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead, talk.
How about now?
Yep. Can hear you now. All right, perfect. So I'm looking at you over here.
Okay.
I have to mute mine over here. All right, let's see. I wonder if you're getting any reverb. Any reverb on your side?
A little bit.
Okay.
Ew, yeah, I can hear
It's on your side for some reason. We'll try to get these mics synced up right here.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, the one I'm looking at right here, use the microphone and the volume on this one.
I am.
Okay. The one down here that I'm looking at, is this one muted?
It's showing on the screen, yes. Look.
Oh.
Can you see it?
Yeah, you know what? Don't mute there. You have to mute on your actual on the sides.
I know, but it's not letting me. That's how far it lets me go down.
Is that an iPad? Can you show me what type of iPad it is? On the side, you might actually have it.
It's an iPad Air.
Does it not have that little button where you click the side? Like a little button.
Oh, there it went. Well, it turned the ringer on silent.
Oh. All right, maybe we just turn your phone on mute.
Okay. How about that? It's still doing it.
All right. Let's figure this out. I'm going to hang up this phone one, all right? I'm hanging up my phone. I'm going to look at you on the other one. All right?
Okay.
Here we go. I'm going to hang up real quick. Okay, can you hear me now?
See, I can hear you just fine. Hello?
Uh-huh.
Hi.
You can hear us fine, right? Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
But
Because I have
for
a
some
week.
reason, it won't allow me to mute you.
Okay. Then you. Rachel.
Did we lose connection on?
I don't know. Maybe she'll come back in.
Hello.
Yeah, there it is. All right. Okay, there she is.
It's off and on.
Or we're panning over to, can we see? Doing it flipping in my screen, like I know in one, because I want to maybe it'll actually give us a here. All right, maybe not. All right, I'm gonna start the live cast on there and go ahead and join on the Facebook one, and then let's get started with this. There we go.
On Facebook?
Yeah, I'm gonna start it on Facebook. So that's the other camera, but that's gonna be from, I guess, your phone, because we're talking on your iPad now, right?
Yeah.
Rachel? Okay.
It's off and on. It's so off and on.
Yeah, I was thinking, it's like she what's that?
It keeps
The
going
pause
off
is
and on.
annoying, I think, right? Yeah. So we're gonna get it through Facebook. So. All right. Let's start the verse of the day. Starting.
Should I get on my phone for Facebook Live?
Right, bear with me a second. Yeah, I'm gonna grab you on Facebook right now. It's I'm starting the live cast now.
Okay.
And I'm gonna invite you in there.
Should I take this one off?
I would say keep it on, because what I'm able to do with this on YouTube is I can take what we have on Facebook and dovetail you in. So if there is something good here that we're looking at, I'm able to mix and like play with both sets of video and then make a better video cast that's left up there inside the library. So, because right now there's not going to be a lot of people sitting around watching it, but I think that what we're going to go through is some very valuable information. So I'd love to be able to share that with people. That's why I love technology. We don't have we have the luxury of doing things like this now where we couldn't do it before. All right, here we go. And let's add Rachel. Boom. Start video. All right, Rachel, you should end up receiving the
Got you. Should I turn the iPad on low?
Right. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. This is Love Begins With Me, episode 4. Today, the panel host for this discussion is G. I'm a minister with Change Begins With Me, 1111 Ministries. You have
Mindy, Stanbro.
And Mindy is a spiritual holistic health practitioner and the co-host with me on our ministry. All right. And we also have a special guest, Rachel Grundon, who's joining us, who's a psychic medium, Reiki master teacher with the Lux Convergence group. So right now, yeah, we have Rachel will be joining us shortly here. As I get into this, the verse of the day today is from Philippians chapter 1, verse 6, and it states, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Now, to me, it's a very powerful statement, which is awesome, because we're going to get into the topic of discussion today. And Philippians chapter 1, since it was the 1 verse 6, since it is the verse of the day, but that whole entire chapter is is an incredible chapter that is relative to today. So we do have Rachel on. Hey, Rachel. Oh, there she is. Okay, we got Rachel on. And so today, what we're going to be talking about is our theme of the week was about patterns, signs, and symbols. And so one of the things, the first question I had asked of me was, what are the significance of patterns, right? A lot of people ask me, like, I see this stuff all the time. What does this mean, G? And so let me share just quickly, like, some things that I see, and other people say, wow, you see certain things too. I see things too. And then I want to hand the baton off to Rachel, let her, talk about some of her revelations and things that she's practiced, as well as Mindy to be able to discuss it too. So for me, I've been seeing like the all-seeing eye, pyramids, triangles, very Trinity-based type of stuff. And the significance of the three different things is for life. Like I tell people, triangle is the base level, shape that makes all of the shapes, or you need 3 points in it in order to know direction, because only 2 points, you don't know what direction is. So you need 3 in order to know life. And then 3 is you have 3 primary colors that make all colors, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, 3 has been very significant, and shapes of 3. So pyramids, triangles, shapes of that nature, seeing 3 consecutive numbers. That's what my experience has been with, significance of shapes, patterns, and numbers. Rachel, Mindy?
Go ahead, Rachel.
And for those that pay attention to signs and synchronicities, we've always known that divine guidance comes in 3s, because basically you're looking for awareness and then confirmation through the repetition of the direction, like you said. I love how you ignore compass, because also whether you're speaking of it in terms of like a shape, like a triangle, or just noticing things happening in 3s, for example, frequencies of 3s, it is all about, like you said, direction. So that's where I love how I actually never heard of it described like you did, about it being like directional in terms of like the pointing to where you're headed. But it makes a lot of sense, because spiritually, once you are seeing a repeating significance to something, you feel like a very deep connection and importance to it. So intuitively, you might not know the whys, and you don't know the hows of how it's all going to unfold, but you have to go there. You have to check that out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always say it like, if you think about it, in the old, in very ancient, civilizations, that you'd have the Norsemen or the Vikings, and they would look to the North Star. It was a directional point, because you knew right and left, but you didn't know like north and south, right? So you had to have another point of interest to be able to give you the third point, so that you knew direction. Without it, you don't know if you're going longitude or latitude. You don't know if you're going diagonal. You have no idea of your point of reference unless you have another point. And then that gives you your point of direction. Or you're going on a straight line, because you know that I have one dot, another dot, and then I have another dot, which means now I know the center dot's my absolute 0, and then 1 is a point of positive and 1's a point of negative, right? So you need to have 3 points, is where I always saw the significance in even life, like the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit type of thing. Male, female come as 1, and that makes a bonding of 3, which significantly make 1. And so I always saw that that's how the significance in the Trinity plays an effect in my own current existence.
I like how you have this as a topic, because it's like in the big picture of it all, the whole universe is created off of mathematics and patterns. It's like so prevalent in our existence. And yet, do you not notice? Are there people that don't notice? Because it's everywhere. I remember even as a child, it's like everywhere I looked, it was like almost overwhelming to me, because there was patterns everywhere. And it's like I sucked all that in, and it was a little distracting, to be honest. But as I've gotten older, it's been more same with me, like pyramids, and particularly shapes that form together into the Merkaba. That's what really pops out at me now. So
And the Merkaba, have you studied that at all, Mindy?
A little, yes, a little bit.
The masculine and feminine, lower, higher vibrations coming in together to make the one unified light body.
The counter rotating.
Is what some of us that understand it or have researched it a little bit or meditated on it, it's what basically holds our soul in place with physical matter as we're interacting with the world.
Yeah, I've started the last few years. I don't necessarily see the Merkaba so much, but I feel it. You know, people's energy fields and how broad theirs is or how narrow it is, and
the aura.
But it always, and since it is a Merkaba there, it's like that's what comes through to me. Not like some people see colors in auras. You know, I feel the vibration of the Merkaba is what I feel. So
you know what's really cool when I keep hearing when somebody describes the feeling, every single time you hear somebody say feeling to me, right? And that's the center of that universe is to me. Like the Merkaba, it's multiple triangles, opposing triangles that when they are opposing each other, that they will make something circular, a circular shape, right? But pointy opposing on the outside, it seems very pointy, but in the inside, it's whole. It's a circle. It's perfect in every dimensional way, right? There's no beginning, there's no end. It's all intersections that make the center of me, which is what we all are. So I just
like a hologram.
Yeah, I mean that's what you kind of think about it. You know, I keep laughing about it. I said that's what we are.
Yeah.
You know, in essence, you really are.
We are.
Right.
So, you know, it's funny is Victor V, not funny, but Victor V wrote something too. He says he sees 21. And then, you know, and I'll say I 2 and 1 still equal 3 because I see 2 points and then to a top point. So to me, it's still a 3. It's a triangular, you know, dimension for me. It tells me there's 2 points pointing to 1 or 2 people becoming 1. You know, it's that whole symbolic of understanding that the numbers on how they appear to me. So
right.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. So so this dovetails right into what do numbers mean to me? So it's interesting enough. We met a Reiki master yesterday. Her name was Carrie, and while she was giving us a massage, I could feel her energy, and the energy she was giving me, I sensed 2s, like 3 sets of 2s, 2, 2, 2. 2, 2, 2. And I kept telling her, I said, you know, there's something about you that radiates 2s. I see like 3 2s. And she said, well, her number that she always sees is 23. And that's 3 sets of 2s to me. It still is. It's 3 sets of 2s because there's 2 and then there's 3. So it's how she actually sees it. But to me, it still represents 3 sets of 2s or a 2, 3. Now, interestingly enough, the day before, 2 days before that, my one of my really good friends, her father was in the hospital. He's looking to pass away and he was planning to let go. And I had this long conversation I had with him about trying to let go. And I had contacted her at 3:23 p.m. and asked her a question, how he was doing. She didn't respond to me until the following day until 2:23 the next day and told me he just passed away. And so I'm like, you see the significance in how those numbers are playing out where there was a beginning, there's an end, and where there's an end, there's always a beginning. Like, so it's like it's a dimensional door. It was sort of like how we were describing. We watched the movie Winchester, and it was talking about pain is both in the living and both in dying. You say, pinch me, because I want to know I'm alive, right? So that's to know you're living. And then pinch me, you feel pain when you're dying. But on both sides, there's both living and both death on one side. So the me inside will live, but the death of you on the outside will fall, right?
It's all a doorway.
Yeah, it is a doorway. So looking at the significance in those numbers of how they actually link to a growth of oneself inside. So the inside me matures while the outside you, death, decays. So the duality in your own life of the number 2, right? And then at some point, you guys become one, because somewhere the you on the outside will write into the soul its own love for me. And the me on the outside has that love for you. And that's the reason why we have a tendency to always want to love all you on the outside, right? And then we gravitate back to me when we realize this is the coming to the end of you, but it's the beginning of a new me at some point in our lives. So what numbers do you radiate with?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah,
now?
go ahead, Rachel.
Okay, sorry. I was particularly resonating my whole entire life with the number 15. And I have a huge resonance now. 15, I'll just tell you, was basically more of a connection to my father, who passed away when I was 9. And he was connected very much to the fire department through the number 15 when he was a firefighter. But I know now, looking back, how 1 and 5 have been like huge numbers for me now in my adult life. But they were making their like presence known to me early on in my very early childhood, and they were kind of like guiding frequencies. If we want to talk about numbers, I would talk about numbers in the form of frequency and
Right.
the level of vibration that they represent. Okay. And what we're basically talking about in terms of essential energy with every single number. So because like the number 1, when we all think about the number 1, or we have an image connected to the number 1, what are we all feeling at that moment? What are we all resonating with about 1? We know it's singular. It's the essence of oneness. There's not more than that. It's just that. So we get a feeling of oneness, a vibration of oneness, a resonance of oneness with that number. So the whole, all. But with the number 5, you have multiple different perspectives, many different layers. And in terms of the elements and different things that correspond to, we see what level the frequency of 5 is playing out with this physical or experience of a spirit in a physical realm.
Right.
You know, all of the ways in which the different vibrations are coming together in a unified whole, 1 star 5-pointed pentagram or pentacle, whichever you're using it for at the moment. So it's still just 1, but 5 in that 1. So I tend to equate numbers with shapes, and I equate numbers with more frequency and overall meaning as a whole as to what every single number or frequency is speaking to me in a spiritual perspective at.
Right.
So 1 is huge for me in terms of spirituality, 1 and 5 being my childhood number connected to my father. It's really not just 15, it's more about 1 and 5. And oneness as a spiritual whole. 5, I do a lot of work with the elements. And some would understand Wicca as what I understand it as, which is just an understanding of natural energy flow. And I am Wiccan, and I'm a practicing Wiccan practitioner of understanding the natural elements. So I work a lot with the pentacle, and what we would call white
Right.
energy. Intentions of love, intentions of light, intentions of peace, of empowerment through understanding that energy and essence. So
I'm sure that has a correlation with like the elemental flow through like TCM and such as well, like traditional Chinese medicine. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I don't study that, although I've attracted a lot of TCM practitioners into my life. So I think it's funny how that's not my personal forte. However, the universe has like mirrored me and my own frequencies and practicing of white magic with the Zen master. Like I've attracted a lot of people that do practice Chinese medicine, Qigong, and the natural energy flow of the ancient Asian cultures. And I've attracted somehow the book, The Tao. That's like gifted to me multiple times. So it's funny to see what mirrors in my life with that practice that I do with Wicca.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
Yeah, I just have to say that it's phenomenal, because in what you're saying, I just want to point to when I kept saying that it was important that when I found out that the verse of the day was from, we're talking about old scripture, but these are words. These words are living, like the words that even you and I speak and we all share today. They've been around forever. And we're just regurgitating the words, but we're understanding them as we become wiser in the synthesis of even the molecules, even the air that we share. I tell people this all the time. Why do you cry when you peel an onion or you chop an onion? Just because you can't see the gas doesn't mean that you don't feel it, that you can't sense it.
Right.
Just the same way that you say that you don't understand that there's a vibration of energy, that everything is made of energy. And this is why I say that this is really cool, because in God's word, when I say God, I mean a creator, something above all, right? So no matter what you practice, you realize that this is not it. This is just a shell. So in Philippians chapter 1, starting at verse 15, it says, "It is true that some preach Christ out of envy and rivalry, but others out of goodwill. The latter do so out of love, knowing that I am but here for the defense of the gospel. The former preach Christ out of the selfish ambition, not sincerely, supposing that they can stir up trouble for me while I am in chains. But what does it matter? The important thing is that in every way, whether from false motives or true, Christ is preached. And because of this, I rejoice." So this tells you that in every way possible, it doesn't matter if somebody tells you words that you feel are unkind. They're words. You have to take the message from those words. And you have to understand that the vibration of those words, you may not be able to interpret them at that time. For instance, my friend who passed, Don Spacek, and a really good friend from high school, it's her dad. And, they have some family rivalry. Nobody's family seems to be perfect, seems to be a little dysfunctional. But the reason why she came all the way back home was to be back with love for her parents, not because of a nest egg or anything else like that. And then in the passing of her father, he wrote her out of the will to free her from the chains of feeling like she had to divide up and conquer everything with her siblings that would probably argue over it. He freed her of that because she can now be a free spirit and fly away, because a lesson that he learned is he wouldn't let go. He was an old crotchety baby boomer. I'm going to hold everything and I'm going to hold it over your heads and make you guys fight for it, until finally he realized, I just need to let go. And you guys are adult enough and you're adult enough and you need to figure it out. I need to go to rest. And he let go. By him letting go, she was sad at first, but then I had to tell her today, feel the vibration of the lesson that your dad was teaching you, because the energy that he left behind, you got to look past the stubbornness that you may have. You may not be resonating on that same energy as he was. You think that he was short-sighting you, but look at why you went back. Why did you go back? And she said, it's because I love and care for him. Now that he's not there in the physical, where is he? He's in your heart. So now you're set free. Take that energy and resonate and go with it. He's not there. And those chains of the material things of a house or anything else doesn't hold you there. And she felt humble. She felt like, you know what? You're right. Why the heck am I upset? Why am I going to fight my sister about something that we fought about as kids? She was going to be greedy anyway. And I know the energy's there. Why fight the energy? Don't fight that energy. Let that energy move the way it needs to move. And so you can continue your movement. But if you try to stand in front of a force of energy, you cause storms. And you say, I don't cause a storm. I say, yeah, but if I'm a low pressure energy and there's high pressure energy coming through, am I not causing a storm? Because it takes two, right? So I decide to let it pass through, and I don't allow the energy to change me, but I allow the energy to be what it is, and I let it go to where it needs to go. And that's simple.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I love what you brought up with the aspect of words and energy. Because I was shown We did here at Amethyst Retreat Center, we did an event called Cosmic Channeling where I look into different aspects of universal questions, collective questions that are of interest for the evolution of humanity at the moment and the betterment of all of us. So one of the things that I was shown in that most recent group channeling was the aspect of, I don't know, actually I don't think it was the most recent, it was about a month, 2 months ago, but regardless, I was shown that language, words, are actually kind of like a degraded form of communication. And that really, as we have kind of been more and more separated from the awareness of oneness, we have had to create language and words throughout human interaction in order to communicate something which is actually much more simple on an essential level, which is just like you were saying, energy, vibration behind the words. Because it's so funny that we're talking about words right now, communication, because this seems to be the area that I am learning some very interesting, challenging lessons at the moment of how communication, when it doesn't come from an energetic level of balance, through words, it can really, really mess things up. Because words are not always received and in the way in which you're meant to have it be expressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're talking about energy then. And so, yeah, in the vision that I was shown about words and vibration is actually in the future, we're going to be evolving back, but it's actually, like I say, evolving back to, we're going back to a natural essence of ours where we've kind of gotten away from, of communicating through presence, simple presence, and that children are going to be teaching us this in the coming years ahead here, is how to just be present and to communicate energetically through, it sounded like guttural like sounds rather than actual words. So it was like noises and the ways in which apes talk and the ways in which animals communicate, but without the words. No wonder there's no ego battles in the animal kingdom. Because they're not using words, they're communicating through energy, they're communicating through frequency.
Right.
So we don't have very big misunderstandings with the animal kingdom, do we?
That's right.
So, and I also want to say something quick about the English language. The English language, sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry I'm shaking my screen.
You're fine.
Nauseous. But, so the English language is actually a destroyed language. And so when we actually started to have ancient root languages way back when, they actually sounded more guttural. They were just like noises. And then when we started to form words, we came up with things like Latin and like the root languages, which are all very flowy. And the way in which their cymatics are expressed through their utterances and their dynamics of their structured language is actually life-affirming. Have you ever seen how like water crystals or like the crystals in the water droplets of the air are formed by energy? So I can't remember the name of the Asian doctor that did the studies with water droplets, but he was studying how just frequency forms the cymatics of the water drops. And then we're all water, so we all know how that goes.
Right.
But basically, the English language is like what we call a backwards language, I think, is how it's described.
Right, because the Hebrew language would be the correct way to do it. So
right, the
right to left. Yeah.
Of our actual words are actually life altering in a negative way because it's not conducive to flow. That's why we do chanting. That's why we do just meditative through sound and connecting to our spirit through sound because of the cymatics of flow. The cymatics of sound frequencies getting you to a place of balance and rejuvenation and empowerment and uplifting in your energy frequency. So just imagine what happens when we have dissonant frequencies interacting with your energy body. And so unfortunately, all of us speaking the language of English, it's kind of like an energetic assault to each other every single single day.
Well, you'll find that. So even in yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, I was maybe it was Ephesians 4, where the entire chapter it talked about with all the languages you can use, without love, you'll never connect with someone. And I say this true, and I say this humbly, because this is one thing that I've learned, and it was trying to further the language of what I consider to be oneness. What does oneness mean? And it's learning that energy number that's inside. It's the angelic number. It's the number that you're told you're not allowed to pick when you're a kid. You can't be number one. Why? Because no one's allowed to be number one. Why? Because then you're perfect, right? You're going to be the hero. But if you learn to get closer to one, then you'll learn to become zero, which means you're absolute. It means you are the beginning and the end. You understand that life and death is within yourself, that you are never dead, but you are never, you never really die. You're energy. You're made of complete and total energy, and energy only transforms. So if you learn now more about your purpose in this world, right? Learn what your purpose is in this world. Learn what your vibrations are. Learn how to communicate. And the first person you need to learn how to communicate is with me and you. And one of the things I love to do is do sensory deprivation. And when I say sensory deprivation, close your eyes. When you close your eyes, you cannot, the racism, anything that you see with the eyes of the flesh is now gone. Now you have to talk to yourself, because you can't see anybody else. You can only feel. So now you have to talk to yourself. You have to be vulnerable, and you talk to yourself. But then somewhere inside, you realize that there is this essence of me that is going to find a way to humble you and talk to you to say, relax. Know your vibration. Start becoming one with yourself. Get your ears to listen so you can start hearing things. Let your vibration of your skin feel the senses of the coolness, of the heat, of learning how to get in touch with you. And this is where you start getting the Reiki masters and start talking about the different chakras. And you start learning how to get in touch with your body, learn to calm your spirit. And you start learning how to do that. You'll learn how to resonate on the levels of energy, no matter who you talk to. You maintain your energy level. Don't allow your energy to be sucked away. It's like a magnet. If somebody has a powerful magnet and you allow yourself to be sucked to it, you feel drained. Mm-hmm. If you allow yourself to overpower somebody, you feel empowering over them. If you feel empowering over somebody, or you feel subordinate to somebody, it's still duality. It's wrong. You got to be able to put people in the same level field and give them that mutual respect, because as a child, as you said, children, if you ask them when they're born if they believe in God or Santa Claus, without telling them about Santa Claus, without telling them about God, they'll tell you they believe in God. They'll believe in angels. But if you tell them that Santa Claus isn't real and you lie to them, then you start making them think that God's not real, because you don't follow by action either. You start tainting and changing the innocence of something that just came from a very sacred place. It's a very sacred energy ground, a very sacred place of love, because they don't see anything. They're happy, right? They come out and they all want to play with each other. I say it all the time. You find kids, they want to play with each other. Somehow or another, we lose that part of us. We separate that spirit from within each and every one of us, and we are not one anymore. We're not whole. Our consciousness is somewhere else. Our physical abilities is somewhere else. And then what we have left is something that we are lost with. And so we are separated. And in order to find that wholeness, find that one with yourself, you have to find that love and respect for yourself first. Find that one, and then you'll find the other two parts of you. And now you can show the love to everybody else, because you see them as one of you, not as the flesh, not as, hey, look, Rachel, you're pretty. Like, that doesn't matter. That's going to die. That's made to decay. That's made to die. What's made to grow is what's inside. And like every seed, what grows from inside and matures from inside is what lives. What is on the outside of the shell will die. And it's made to do that. It's made to protect what's inside in order for what's inside to learn its purpose on how to grow and find its direction. If it grows down into the ground because you bury it, it will never see the light. But if you learn to know how to feel as a seed underneath the ground, you will feel the light, you will feel the rain, you'll feel the sunshine radiating, and you will break through the ground and you'll sprout out. So think of this as the flesh. This is the ash. This is the soil. Inside is our seeds, and we learn to love from the inside out. We will sprout out of here, and we will radiate that energy that we have, that is natural in all of us. Sorry, off my soapbox, but that's what I do to center myself, and I learn to make sure you give people back that same respect. If you feel as if you're having miscommunication with them, take a mirror out, hold it up in front of you, and talk to them in the mirror. So that they understand this message is not for that person that I'm looking at. This message is really for the person that these eyes need to see, and that's me. So I learn to humble myself in how I speak to somebody, how I treat somebody, because I don't know what it's like behind those sets of eyes. The beauty of it is that me has the other perspective, but that me still feels like I feel. That me has lied just like I have lied. That me has cheated like I have cheated. That me has been happy like I've been happy. That me has cried like I've cried. And because of that, that makes us one and the same. And that's what gives me my humanity. Anyway.
No, keep going.
So this is a great segue into what you have, which I say conspiracy theories to patterns. Now, the biggest conspiracy theory that I'm going to save mine for later on is really the book of Revelations. This goes back to the existing beginnings of time. This is the reason why wars are even created today, why we went to all the Asian continents, the reason why that a lot of these scriptures in the New Testament were found in the 7 churches of Asia, and the book of Revelations came out of that. So we created wars to go and instigate the coming of Jesus to come back, the Omega. The reason why the Jews said that Jesus was just a prophet, the reason why the Muslims say Jesus was a prophet, because he was only an alpha. He came there, but he's supposed to come back in the flesh. And when God realizes he's the one, and he comes back, and this time when he learns his lessons, when he dies, he understands humanity, which is the reason why everyone will be saved. All you have to do is live a redemption path. And so this is, in essence, people's ability to live through the book of Revelations, realize, get off the cross, somebody already died, find your purpose, find your love, and now find the humanity in it, because you will leave this and you are promised something that is sacred and heavenly. Even though it's conspiracy, people are tired. They're ready for things to change. Where there's good, there's going to be bad, but where there's balance, there is no good nor bad, there is humanity. And that stays when I actually see you for who you are, I treat you for who you are, and you are me, and I am you. And with that, we have a heavenly place. We have utopia. No one is ever hungry. I say it to myself all the time. If you want to see the biggest conspiracy, the conspiracy is the fact that you believe that you are going to live in the flesh forever, yet you deny the simple fact that the sun does not rise and the sun does not set, that you are born to die. From the very beginning, when you take your first breath, you will take a last breath. So what is your purpose? Why are you so concerned about living? Why are you so concerned about dying? Why are you so concerned about trying to prolong your life when your purpose on this earth is to figure out why you're alive, why you have other people, why they're put in your path every day? What lessons should you learn? Is it today that I continue to make the same mistakes? Or is it today that I learn a lesson so I avoid making those mistakes, so I learn from today forward that today is a day I actually exercise lessons. I don't make the same mistakes. I don't blame people for what happened in the past that causes me to act a certain way today. My accountability is today. So the biggest conspiracy that we have is ourselves. And it's because we forgot our purpose. And until you find your purpose, the biggest conspiracy is that you are your own worst creator and you are your own victor. But you have to find that love of that one, that God-like self that sits inside each and every one of us. So that's my biggest conspiracy theory. I hand it over to you guys.
And just to
Mindy,
right?
Yes.
I need you to say something, because I feel like
I was just gonna say that what you were just describing is the significance of your hyphen. You know, your birth, your death. You have these 2 dates. That's what you have, and all that you have in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Your hyphen, the the hyphen between your two dates and the significance of your hyphen and how you develop and grow that. And are you sprouting your seed? Are you living wholly and in oneness with yourself and the universe? And if you're not, then what's the point of your hyphen? Do you have significance of your hyphen?
Right.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm really, really touched by everything you said, Sikomo.
Well, thanks. But I mean, there's other conspiracies that we have too, right? Like, for instance,
What would you like to talk about?
well, since it's shapes and patterns and numbers, for instance, people talk about the Illuminati, right? Which is an all-seeing eye. It's on our money. It's on our currency. Yet we say that it's a symbol, right?
That's the symbol of the Illuminati.
But it also is a pyramid that talks about reaching a higher level of consciousness. That when you start seeing signs and patterns, and I will tell you guys, this is something that sounds like conspiracy theory, but then I'll point to some facts where you guys go, wow, that's actually scientifically true. And do we really do that? Everything that we have to make humanity better, we have today. The problem is now the courses that we took to get humanity to the point of where it is today, we focused on only the bell curve. And the people on the outliers, we didn't. And so we believe that through attrition, through this thing that's called the age of reasoning, that eventually they'll die off, which comes with the creation of war. We have right now, 2018, we have the Winter Games that are happening right this very second. We have the Republic of Korea, which represents both North and South Korea unified, but yet they're at war. Now, how are you supposed to be at war, but yet you have peace to compete together as a unified front for everyone? So which really is the truth and which one's a lie? And some people say that's the lie, the other side, but my mom, who is of Korean birth, says it's the most beautiful thing and it's a step in the right direction. So which one is it? Do we hold on to the past or do we unite here in the present? So the conspiracy that I have is we have wars, but yet we have peace. Why do we have famine when you have an ability today? Everyone today that tells me they want peace. If you want peace, then you would have peace in your life today. But if you don't have peace, then you do not want peace. Peace starts with each and every one of us. If you want world hunger to stop, it starts with you. I don't tell you to go out there and hand people money on the streets. No, I would never tell you that. Why? Because the first thing that we would think of is someone's going to use the money for something bad. So instead, what should you do? Maybe you should bring them food, but what if your safety is at risk? Well, then go into the store that's right there next to it, put money on the counter, take a picture and selfie, and say, you know what? That person that's on the counter, over there in the corner, they're hungry. I'm tired of seeing that they're hungry and I'm not doing anything about it. No one is. I'm leaving money on the counter to make sure that they're fed, but the money doesn't go to them. Make sure they have what they need. If that person goes in for food, great. They're not hungry. If they go in for water, great. Then they're not thirsty. But if they're going in there for anything but that is something that is a want, not a bare necessity need, then that's not my problem. Because I don't want that. I'm going to give people what I need. And when I'm out there, if I'm hungry, people have fed me, so I'll make sure they're fed. When I've been thirsty, people make sure I was the thirst was there. But the reality is our governments purposely put a divide in us because we can't seem to come together as a community. We allowed ourselves to be divided over simple things as skin color. We allow ourselves to be divided on simple things such as sex, sexual preference. Whether you wear earrings in your ear in the 80s and you're a guy, you had an earring, you had to wear it in your left ear, because if you wore one in your right ear, you were considered gay. And I said, I didn't know that gayness was done with the fact that you put a jewel on your face. Right. Or the fact that I have anything that I put on my body to determine who I am. So we allow ourselves to be check boxes. We allow the government to do it. The conspiracy sits there, but it's not the conspiracy. We play into it. A conspiracy only exists as long as you play into it. And we continue to play into it every day. So when are we going to stop playing these conspiracies? I can tell you, our government collects all this data. We have this thing called 23andMe and DNA and stuff like that. People are going to look at it now, and And the one thing that we fail to realize is that what? We are all made of the same exact stuff. I'll make people laugh. We recycle each other's farts. We have an atmosphere. I mean, we're recycling everything here. Yeah, I'm going to say that. I mean, literally, if you understand that, when will you allow yourself to not allow someone to sensationalize you with what your eyes see? Your eyes will beguile you in the quickest way. We know we can, you know, you can quickly make up things that are, they look like something, but they're not, right? It's like a little, not necessarily a hologram, but you know, it just plays tricks in your eyes. You know, is that an old lady's face or a young lady? You know, it's those optical illusions. So if you know optical illusions sit, don't let your eyes allow somebody to paint a different picture for you. Understand, like you said, words in language being spoken don't necessarily tell really the true feelings behind it, and neither does a picture. A picture says 1,000 words, but it never really tells you the true meaning behind it. You know, and until you reach out and connect with people with love, with that gift that we all have, and until you learn to have that, you will never connect with anyone. You'll only get past a certain wall in that maze that sits inside their heart, but you'll never get there. It's sort of like a sperm trying to go to an egg. You think you got there, but you're wrong. You didn't make it to the creation of life. If you want life, reach out to people and find them in their heart, which means step outside of yourself, find that me, get into them, and we can get past this conspiracy of even our governments uniting together as one. That's what it takes. Right. Not continue to be divided. So you continue to check boxes, we'll continue to be divided.
So I agree with everything you've shared about the conspiracy theories about the government and the separation that is on purpose, that they keep pushing through various different means. But if we're looking at it from a human average Joe perspective on this level of it, not the Capitol Hill perspective, right? We can begin to feel very disempowered to that whole process if we're not careful to understand that when I, Rachel, am thinking about that very real fact in my awareness that the government is behind a lot of aspects of separation intentionally, then I can get really upset, and I've gotten really upset at times, and I still do today, to think about the ways in which I see it happening. But then I have to, so that I don't become, like you said, a victim to that process or that aspect of awareness, what can I do from that level of awareness? So instead of giving my power away to those that are separating, I have to then own that for some reason, things are the way they are for a reason. And then I also have to understand that I would not have been, the way that I approach life is I see that, yes, there is an aspect of all pervasive creator force essence, but that my consciousness is that which is basically utilizing all of that oneness creator force to create in the now moment the experiences that I'm having for my greatest evolutionary process as the creator I am. So I then have to go into my center with that aspect of the government separating and say, why am I choosing to experience life in this now moment in a separated form, which is being instigated by the government or whatever aspects. So then I have to say, why have I created that? Why is this experience here for me to be experiencing? Because I'll tell you that there's parts of like people in remote areas of the world that might not be dealing with any government at all, that are more just essential or tribal in the way that they approach life. And there really is no form of being other than just human common presence of flow within the tribe, you know? So why have we created now here in America as creator selves or aspects of the creator to experience a level of separation and to experience that even if it's by the government, are we also separating ourselves from them by saying it's them, not us, that's creating that separation?
Well, the thing is, we are it's called We the People, right? We're one with the government, but people choose, and I say it's a choice. The choice not to exercise is the choice to now not have accountability, right? You want to point blame at somebody else. And that came a long time. That you talk about something that, you know, you being of Wiccan, right? To practice Wiccan. That was illegal. Even here on these very shores, that was illegal. And that was beat out. You could not pray. You could not practice. No religion could be. You could practice religion, but they were not allowing it. And so that became a common practice. So now even religion is something that people are not allowed to talk about. It's taboo. Talking against politics or even talking politics leads to arguments, because it's a fine way to pull away at sense of your humanity. If I told you, if everybody went to one platform, and that platform was what is the base level things we need here, everyone needs here, and we looked at those first, and we realized we are not as civilized as we claim to be. Why? Because we still have people that are hungry. You cannot be a first world country, America, and write off 3 million people, 6 million people. Right. Where is your humanity? Right. When you know that it doesn't take that much, but yet we will spend more money on a holiday, and it is pushed down our necks since we are children until the very day where we lose the sight of our own humanity. People will want to help an animal. Not of the same, kingdom as you, right? They're not of the Homo sapiens sapien. They'd rather help them than help a human that is sitting out there, because you want to find ways to look at them, label them, and say that this is why they've had such hardship.
Judgment.
And because
why are we doing this to ourselves?
When you think about it, it's something that is taught to us from very young. It is something that's been brought into us from very young. And as you said, as the children start to grow up, the children will teach us the way, because somehow along the way, we learn to lose that innocence of being children from very young. Every last one of us. It is. And we call it adulting, and everybody talks about it and we joke about it, but we never confront, we never talk to each other and say, wow, what's really going on? You know, we don't do it. And that in itself is the reason why we have people that are committing suicide. Mental health is paramount, is just as much as your physical health. It is the maturity of the me that sits inside. And as those seeds die alone, so shall the skin on the outside. But if we learn to love and allow ourselves to go back to that innocence of that childlike self, but now you know how to protect that person, not by building walls, but by being able to talk, to reach out and to connect with people, not into, see, if someone did something, a sinful shame, and they're feeling shameful for it, they already feel really bad. If someone steals from you, they're going to feel bad. But the beauty of it is, I can't make that person feel bad for it. They already do. The only thing I can do is make them feel defensive if I come at them with that negative energy. But what I will tell them is that, you know what? There was a time I stole, and I'll tell you when I stole. And I'll tell you why I stole. And I'll tell you why I stole where I did good with it. Because I felt that it was the right thing to do to help somebody else out. And I put myself in harm's way. But there's times where I stole where I shouldn't have, and I was being deceitful. And I felt bad for it. And it caused me to act a certain way towards people. So if I can share that story and don't make them feel bad, but I can share my story with them and tell them the pain that it caused from me, then now we are relating and I'm telling them lessons so they don't have to go down a deeper hole. Or if they choose to, then that is up to them. But it's not for me to tell them the right or wrong. It's for me to tell them, this is what the turn I turned in this maze of a life. And I hit a dead-end wall. I passed this information on you because you are the future. And you have the opportunity now to take that and look at that as a lesson. But I'm not telling you can't do it, because I have no will over you. Our government and all societies have taught each other from parenting on down fear. We live in a fear-based system, which causes us to do things we fear tomorrow, so much so that we would deprive the very essence of everybody today based on fear. The reason why you have a pantry full of food, because you fear being hungry. But yet you have people that are deprived out there, and you will fill up a whole trash can full of that food that perished, yet you have people that are starving. And yet you feel good about yourself. You call yourselves Christians. You call yourself people of faith. You call yourself humanitarians, but yet you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't want to look at that face because you're afraid you may see the reflection of the same person that's sitting on that corner. So fear has to be overcome within. Once you learn to overcome the fear within, you stop the pride of the outside of feeling as if you're going to be teased or feeling bad for telling people your true convictions inside. You show them the love from inside, and then we will eradicate this curse that we have inside, which is that sinful shame. It's shame. And you let go of that, and you let go of that conspiracy that people are out to get you when it is you that are trying to hide who you really truly are deep down inside, because everyone is lost. We're hurt. We're lonely. We feel a need to want to bond with people, but we don't know how. So we use this outside layer to try to find ways to bait people in that they may want to belong with us. We forget the very essence that makes us human. Why our hearts beat. Why I feel radiation, you know, an effect when I'm around someone. When someone hugs you, why you feel that. Why you're not the only face that exists. So I tell you, if you're blind, a touch from a stranger will be the best touch you ever have in your entire life, and you don't care what they look like. So learn to love people blindly. Hear their words in your heart, you know, and show your love from your heart to them. But don't show them by putting you on them, but put your me. Be inside their eyes, feel what they felt, and reach out and touch them with that same feeling of a time that you've had before. And if not, learn a lesson and silence your mouth, because you have nothing to add to that. You can't say what you could have done if you've never lived in those shoes. If you've never animated that flesh, if you've never been in that stress and that problem. But if you've had anything similar to it, then empathy. Talk about your experience. Let us heal together. You know, and that way we all find the way to eradicate the sickness of the conspiracy of ourselves. We find our own salvation because it sits within each and every one of us. We find that humility. We find that humanity. We find our sanity once again. We don't make up, like you said, children don't know the difference between today, tomorrow, next week, next year. They don't know. If I asked my son when it happened, he said yesterday. And I'm like, that happened 2 years ago. And he's like, it was yesterday. Because to them, it does not matter. We are taught a calendar. But I tell you guys, on a sphere, on a circle, what is the originating point of start and when is the point of stop? No one knows, and we don't know when time started or time stopped. But I will tell you, love started and love never stops, but you got to find it in your heart. Make it come full circle. Make sure it comes back to you from yourself every day. And reach out and touch everybody that hits you in that circle and bring it back to your heart, and you hold them in your heart and you know that you have love there. So off my soapbox, upcoming events coming up. Let's have you, Rachel, talk about some upcoming events that's happening with the Lux Convergence and what you guys are doing out there. I know Melinda has something that's hosting. We're going to make it out there to come see you guys, because sometimes just being on camera is great, seeing a face, but sometimes reaching out and seeing people in person is all the more better. So what upcoming events you got?
So, right, tomorrow I do have, I'm just looking at my calendar right now. Oh, it's so bright. Tomorrow I do have Melinda coming up here to be talking about ways to approach life holistically, daily life holistically, balancing on energetic levels, and also is going to go into the aspects of how we need to also balance the physical parts of being human too.
Right.
So it's just a well-rounded approach to healthy, balanced living, and ways. She's also going to be pointing out ways in which things we're doing on a daily, regular basis in general right now are actually, not so positive for, health purposes and wholeness. But I'm trying to think. I think that the 22nd is when we have Tribe Vibes. Thursday the 22nd, that's going to be where Matthew and Fox are leading the group with the guitars and the drums, and just coming together and making music and
awesome,
vibrating together with our energy and our vibes and drawing and just the creative aspect of what we're doing. And then That's all I have, I think, for this rest of this month.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been watching and following along. Thank you to our special guest, Rachel Grundon from Lux Convergence, and from Mindy, the host, and from G. Thank you guys again, and God bless you, and we'll see you guys again. Bye.
Thank you.